I want to talk for a couple seconds about a topic that is something that comes up for most people at one time or another. For most individuals, a mortgage is both the biggest investment and the biggest personal debt that they'll ever accumulate. And it causes a lot of angst when people see this big number from when they buy their house and they realize that number technically over time they're going to pay way more than that in principal and interest. And it really affects people psychologically. And there's all kinds of different approaches and ideas about whether or not you should try to pay that down early. So I want to talk and give you a little bit of a framework for thinking about that. The first piece of that is before you should even think about making one extra dollar in principal payment towards your mortgage to pay it down, you should make sure that you are instead paying down any bad debt you have, like credit cards or auto loans, things that are not tax advantaged. A mortgage is tax preferred, meaning you can write off the interest on that mortgage. So think about paying down the bad debt first before we even continue this conversation. The next thing to think about is how do you go about doing it? A lot of banks will offer you the opportunity of making a bi-weekly payment, and the idea there is if you pay rather than once a month, you pay every 2 weeks. At the end of the year, you will have made an extra payment. You have made 13 payments instead of 12. And usually they'll charge you a fee for taking out half your mortgage every 2 weeks. Well, instead of doing that and letting the bank collect that fee, if you just insist on paying down your mortgage, just add 10% or add whatever an extra payment a year is, divide it by 12 and add that to your payment each month. So instead of paying, $2,000 a month or $1,500 a month, pay $1,600 or $2,100. At the end of the year, that's going to add up to an extra payment. The bank's not getting anything. The effect is the same. But what I want to leave you with is just the idea that don't do it unless you have the bad debt paid off first, then start doing it, and then recognize that maybe this is a psychological issue where you're worried about that debt. You should also be thinking about things like saving money for retirement and trying to invest some money, because when you give that dollar to the bank to pay your mortgage down, you don't get it back until you sell the house. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about paying down your mortgage.